Welcome to the 1 Hour Smart Home Podcast,
helping you make your life better
using automation and technology, with your host, James Both.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to episode number 6, where we are going to teach you everything you need to know to automate your lighting and control it using voice with either Amazon Alexa or Google Home. This episode is near and dear to my heart because we design and manufacture several smart light switches that work with Alexa and Google Home, as well as several smart plugs that you can use to control your lighting or plug-in fans. So we came out with these products because we saw a need for a standardized system that would work with both Google Home and Amazon Alexa without an additional hub. We wanted something that was going to be simple, reliable, and high quality. We went through the process to work with our manufacturing partner to make sure that everything was perfect for you. I personally have these light switches in my home, and we've installed them in hundreds of homes throughout the country, and that number is growing every day. So, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know to automate your home and your lights with voice today. And it's going to be applicable to every single manufacturer out there. However, I will personally appreciate it if you go on Amazon and you get our light switches. We will also include a special bonus discount for those of you who are on the email list to be able to purchase these at a reduced cost. If you're not on the email list, sign up now and we'll get you taken care of. Now, let's go through the 3 primary ways that you can control your lighting with voice. The first one is smart light bulbs. These have been around a long time. Philips Hue was the primary driver in a smart bulb light space. So how that works is you install a Philips Hue bridge, and that Philips Hue bridge communicates with Zigbee to the light bulbs. And each one of those light bulbs replicates the Zigbee signal throughout your house. Now, smart light bulbs are great for existing installations because you can just screw the light bulb in and be able to control that light bulb with your phone very quickly and very easily. The installation takes less than 5 minutes. Now, however, smart light bulbs have a major disadvantage. When you screw the light bulb into an outlet or a socket or light fixture, what happens is that light bulb always needs power to work. So let's say that you have a ceiling light fixture and you screw in a Philips Hue smart light bulb. That ceiling light fixture that's controlled by a switch, an actual physical switch for electricity on your wall, that Philips Hue bulb will only work when that switch is turned on. So what ends up happening with Philips Hue light bulbs a lot of the time is that users will have the light bulb screwed in to a ceiling light fixture. That ceiling light fixture is still controlled with your traditional switch on the wall. And when you turn off that switch, your Philips Hue bulb no longer has power to it, which means it no longer has a Wi-Fi connection or Zigbee connection to it. That means that it won't respond to voice commands or work when the power is off. That is the major drawback of smart lighting with smart light bulbs. So while it's very easy to implement, it does not always work, which is why it is not our recommended method for automating an entire house, as well as the cost of putting in multiple light bulbs will quickly go up when you're outfitting your entire home. So, what is the solution? The solution is, instead of installing a smart light bulb, you can install a smart light switch. Now, these smart light switches come in several different varieties. There are smart light switches that work with Wi-Fi, which is what we manufacture and design. There are smart light switches that work with Zigbee. And there are smart light switches that work with Z-Wave. In my home, I have smart light switches that work with Wi-Fi and smart light switches that work with Z-Wave. Why? Because Z-Wave was the original most reliable smart light switches to install in the home. They've been around for 10 plus years and work great. Now, the disadvantage of having a Z-Wave controlled smart light switch is that smart light switch still requires a hub in order to send and receive signals. But if you've listened to our podcast about how smart homes work, I believe it's episode number 4, you could see and understand a little bit more about how Z-Wave, Zigbee, and Wi-Fi work. So I'm not going to go into it too far here. But a Z-Wave switch requires you to have a smart home hub like SmartThings, Wink, HomeSeer, Control4, any one of these smart home hubs on the market that integrate with Z-Wave. What that means is that you have an extra layer between controlling your switch and controlling your lights. So when you want to turn something on or off, that command is going to the smart home hub. If that hub is unresponsive or the manufacturer has a firmware issue, it's going to decrease the reliability of being able to get that Z-Wave switch to work. Now, the same thing holds true for Zigbee. So Zigbee also needs a hub to be able to control your light switches. And all of these Wi-Fi, Zigbee, Z-Wave will have an app that will allow you to control your light switches via a phone interface. But what I have found is that once you have smart lighting in your home and you have voice control of those light switches, you are pretty much never going to use the app because it's just one more thing to go through on your phone rather than saying, Alexa, turn off the lights, Alexa, turn on the lights. So the reason that I now recommend Wi-Fi switches over Z-Wave or Zigbee switches is that there's no layer between you and the light switch. The light switches on Wi-Fi just work on your Wi-Fi network. They go up to a server. The signal comes up and down from the cloud and turns on and off your light switches. So it's very easy to connect the light switches to Amazon Alexa or Google Home for voice control. As time goes on, I think Wi-Fi light switches will be the dominant player in the light switch home control market because of the reliability, and you don't have to rely on hub manufacturers to integrate the light switches. The light switches come with native Wi-Fi control via an app and integrate with Amazon Alexa with just a few simple clicks. So, how do you install a smart home Wi-Fi light switch or a smart home light switch that is Zigbee or Z-Wave? Okay, well, the first step is that you're going to need to go to your old light switch. You're going to turn off the power. You're going to take off the cover for the light switch, and then you're going to actually pull the old light switch out. When you wire up these new light switches, what you're going to need to do, they wire a little bit differently than a standard light switch. And what I'm going to say here is if you're a tech savvy person and you feel comfortable doing electrical work, no problem. This is going to be simple for you. If you are not tech savvy, don't feel good about doing work with live electrical wires, you don't feel good about working with electricity, then go hire an electrician and you can get a great deal on having somebody install these because they wire up very similar to a traditional light switch. So you can get all the benefits of smart lighting. You just get the smart light switch and you have somebody else do it. But these wire up a little bit differently. So a normal light switch has a hot wire and a load wire. And that load wire goes to the light fixture, and the hot wire is the wire that is coming in from your electrical panel that is providing the electricity. And then once you get to the light bulb or the light fixture, the other side of that is a neutral, which then the current can return to your electrical panel on. So with a smart Wi-Fi switch or a smart Z-Wave or a smart Zigbee switch, all of these switches require the neutral to be wired in to the light switch. The reason that the light switches need the neutral wire is because the neutral allows the light switch to have constant power, eliminating the issue that we talked about earlier with the Philips Hue light bulbs. So the constant power, when you have the light switch with the neutral, allows that light switch to always be communicating with the Wi-Fi network. So everything will work 100% of the time. Now, one of the common questions that I get about Wi-Fi light switches, Zigbee light switches, or Z-Wave light switches is how will it work? What happens if my Wi-Fi or my Zigbee or Z-Wave network goes down? Well, let me tell you. It will work like a normal light switch. If your Wi-Fi, your Z-Wave, or Zigbee network goes down, your light switch will still work like a normal light switch. You just press it on, press it off. That is the great thing about this. You're not sacrificing standard user interface and usability when you install one of these smart light switches. So once you've got the light switch installed, the next step that you're going to have to go through is actually connecting this Wi-Fi switch to your Wi-Fi network. So what that typically entails, regardless if it's a Z-Wave, Zigbee, or a Wi-Fi switch, is that you're going to need to download an app. For our light switches, you download the Smart Life app from TUYA, and it's called Smart Life. You put your information in the app to create a login, and then it's going to walk you through the instructions to connect the light switch. But the short of those instructions for connecting a light switch is you need to put the light switch in pairing mode, which for our light switches is you hold the button down for 10 seconds, the light on the top of the switch starts to blink, that light switch is then in pairing mode, and you click continue, and the app will automatically find that light switch on your Wi-Fi network, and then it is added to your Wi-Fi network. Now, for Z-Wave and Zigbee switches, you are going to be doing the connection through typically the Hub app. So for Smart Things, you would go onto Smart Things, you would click the Add a Device, and you would pick the device that you're going to use, and then you need to put it into pairing mode. So some Z-Wave devices have a very easy pairing mode to allow these switches to connect to the network. Some of them have a little bit more complicated pairing mode where you have to go through a series or a sequence of different on-off motions to be able to turn the light switch on and off to connect it to the Z-Wave network. Sometimes it's 3 taps down and then hold for 5 seconds, or whatever iteration the manufacturer has listed in their product information. So it's very important that you read the instructions with the Z-Wave and Zigbee switches because each manufacturer has a little bit different way that the light switches connect to the Wi-Fi network or Z-Wave or Zigbee network. But for ours, it's very simple. You just hold down the light switch button for 10 seconds, and all of a sudden, the light switch will pop up on your app. It will be found when it's in pairing mode, and you now have a light switch connected via app to the interface to control it with Wi-Fi. So you have the light switch connected. Now, how do you get Amazon Alexa to control it with voice? Okay, very simple. Anytime that you want to connect a new smart device, an Internet of Things device, to work with Alexa, you need to go to the Amazon Alexa app. And within the Amazon Alexa app, there are skills. And those skills are basically apps for Amazon Alexa. So with our light switches and the variety of manufacturers, they all have their own app. That app is within the Amazon Alexa skill store. Our app is free for the skill. You can use it as long as you want, add as many devices as you want, no issue. The same thing is true for most other manufacturers, and they will have a skill available on Amazon Alexa. So you enable the skill in the skills store. So you go into skills in your Amazon Alexa app, you click enable, and then what you're going to do is enter the password and username and information that you use to first set up your account with the app you use to connect the Wi-Fi switches to your Wi-Fi network. This is the same thing for Z-Wave or Zigbee. In the case of a Z-Wave light switch, you would integrate or enable the SmartThings skill, and then you would be able to control it with Alexa. Now, before you get too far and do a whole bunch of light switches, there's something that you need to be aware of. Whatever you choose to name the light switches in the app with Amazon Alexa and or the app that you added these Wi-Fi switches or Z-Wave light switches to is the name that Amazon Alexa will respond to. So you don't want to have a lot of similar sounding names because it will be easy for Amazon Alexa to confuse those. You can always take your light switches and then group them into a scene within the Amazon Alexa app so you can combine them all and do like I have in my home where I say, Alexa, turn off the downstairs, Alexa, turn off the upstairs, or vice versa. And you can have 6 or 7 different light switches all combined into that scene or grouping. But what you don't want to do is have plurals or very similar sounding light switch names, like dining room light and dining room lights. If you use that kind of terminology, it's not going to work well. And really, what you want to try and do is actually just give it a room name and then a specific location or a specific type. So, for instance, in my living room, there is a light over the top of the couch. Rather than say living room lights, I call that couch light. And then I have that grouped as a group of 5 or 6 different light switches in the living room that is living room, so I can turn on and off the whole living room at once. But for each light in a different part of the living room, so we've got one above our fireplace, I use fireplace light and couch light for the one over the couch. So that if I want to control those specific lights, I can say that name and you make it easy. It's really important that you do this because it will lead to the maximum efficiency and maximum satisfaction when controlling your home with voice. If you don't take the time to think through the naming of your light switches or this little step, it's going to cost you a lot of frustration in the future, and that's what we're trying to avoid. So the pro tip I have for you is think about the light switch names, give them a specific location name, not necessarily the room name, and then use that location and group them all together within a room so that you can control all of them at once. But give each one a very specific name, something that you're going to remember, and that will help you in the long run. So we're going to do a quick recap here of what you need to do to connect a Wi-Fi light switch, Zigbee, or Z-Wave light switch. First thing is you're going to install the light switch. The second thing you are going to do is download the app for the specific manufacturer for that light switch. You are then going to go through the instructions on the app to add the light switch to your Wi-Fi or Z-Wave or Zigbee network. You have to put the light switch in pairing mode to add it on the app. Once you have that light switch added on the app and you can control it via your phone, the next step is that you're going to go to the Amazon Alexa app, go to the skills section, and add the skill for the light switch device manufacturer that you choose. When you add that skill into Amazon Alexa, you will then enable it, and you will enter your username and password login so that it will connect to Amazon Alexa. Once it's connected to Amazon Alexa, it will automatically search for smart home devices. And then once you have those devices, you can always control them via voice invocation saying, Alexa, turn on living room lights. Alexa, turn on dining room lights. And you can group those lights into different rooms. But what we said is you want to choose very specific names for each light you are adding and then add them into bigger room groups. It will make it simpler for you to be able to control and use the right names. I also recommend when you do this that when you're getting started, you write down all the different names of the light switches on maybe a little Post-it note, a postcard, or a nice little brochure that has all the different names of your light switches so that you can start to learn the different names that you need to use to invoke Amazon Alexa to control your lighting. So let's say that you don't want to do any hardwiring of light switches. You don't want to have to hire somebody to do this. What can you do? Well, we already talked about the Philips Hue option where you can screw the light bulbs into the sockets. And the major detractor of that is that if somebody turns off the light switch, the Philips Hue won't work. However, there is a third possibility here. And this is really nice for rooms that have standing lamps, bedside lamps, or small accessories that you want to be able to control with your voice, such as maybe a small fan that you use to sleep with. So that third option is smart plugs. And smart plugs don't require any wiring. They don't require any knowledge of electrical. You just plug in the light switch and you get started. So how these typically work is that you open up the app that you are going to connect the smart plug to. You follow the instructions there. You put the smart plug in pairing mode, which typically is achieved by holding a button down on the side of the smart plug. That's how ours work. You hold it down for about 10 seconds and then it starts to blink. And once it blinks, it's in pairing mode. You follow the instructions on the app and boom, the smart Wi-Fi plug is then connected. And you can start controlling it with the app. And you follow the exact same process that we talked about for adding light switches into Amazon Alexa. So, if you already have the skill enabled for Amazon Alexa when you are connecting a new smart lighting device for that particular skill, it's the same manufacturer. The nice thing is you don't have to re-enable that skill. All you need to do now to get that light switch to show up on Amazon Alexa's radar is you go into the smart home menu on Amazon Alexa and you're just going to click add devices. And Amazon Alexa will then perform an automated search of your devices on your network. You don't need to do anything more. So you add the device first onto the manufacturer app. And then once you have that added, you're going to go into the Amazon Alexa app and you just click on the Smart Home, Smart Devices tab, the menu on Amazon Alexa. You just click Add Devices, and Amazon Alexa will automatically search for the devices you have already added to the manufacturer app. And boom, you are done. And now you have smart control of your smart plug device, and you can start using it on Amazon Alexa. If you are looking for a place to get started with voice control of your lighting or home appliances and you don't know where to start, I typically suggest you start with a smart plug. And that's because it's easy, it's low risk. They cost less than $50. We sell 2 of our smart Wi-Fi plugs for, I believe, $35. So it's a great, inexpensive way to get started with Amazon Alexa home voice control of your lighting without really taking a big risk. And then you can see if you like it. And what I will say is once you do one of these, you're going to realize how easy it is and how much easier it makes your life, and that lighting is one of the better features that you can add to a smart home. And adding smart home lighting, specifically built-in Wi-Fi light switches, is a great way to add value to your home. Because when you go to a house and you're at a showing and you can say, Alexa, turn on or off the living room lights, that has a very powerful impact for buyers. So it's great for when you're living in it. It's going to raise the value of your home. It's going to make it easier for you to stay there longer. And just all around, smart Wi-Fi lighting has a ton of applications. We're not going to get into all of them here. We're going to cover that in a later episode, and how smart Wi-Fi lighting and smart light switches with Amazon Alexa is helping people. But this is a great primer on getting started with smart lighting, and we gave you a couple simple options to try to get started with Amazon Alexa and voice control of actual physical things, because maybe you have an Amazon Alexa, but you don't have it connected yet to any lighting. So we gave you a couple simple options there with the smart Wi-Fi bulbs or the smart Wi-Fi plug. So that's where I would start. And if you like that, then move on to upgrading your lighting system and adding smart Wi-Fi switches. So one more thing that I want to cover, just to eliminate the questions that I know we're going to get on this. So for 10 or 20 years, smart home automation lighting systems have been around. And these really large home automation vendors, I'm not going to name them here, want to convince you to have a hardwired system back to what's called a PLC, a programmable logic controller, which is just this giant cabinet that takes up a whole bunch of space within your home. You don't need that. With Wi-Fi light switches, everything works over Wi-Fi and is incredibly reliable. The technology has come far enough that you don't need to worry about disconnecting. You're not going to have to re-add light switches. If you have a strong enough Wi-Fi network, you won't have any of these issues. The great thing about the Wi-Fi light switches, or Z-Wave or Zigbee, is that there's now an ecosystem that's been built around these with Amazon Alexa, so they work amazingly. The old school way of doing this with the programmable logic controller and hardwiring all the wiring back to this PLC to control your lighting, it was inconsistent. It didn't always work. And those manufacturers don't really have any incentive to work with Amazon Alexa. Most of them want to keep you in their system, charge you 10 times what it typically costs to use the system, to install the system, because they want to sell you a $100,000 package. We are about making smart homes reliable and accessible for everyone, because they can improve everyone's life. So we're not going to tell you go this proprietary way, use this proprietary system, because they're not as good as what's out there now. But you're going to see a lot of things where people are telling you to use this hardwired approach with all of the programmable logic controllers and excess wiring. One, it's wasteful. Two, those manufacturers and those providers are locked into a particular system, and their incentive is to keep you there and keep you paying big bucks to do this. The reality is technology has changed significantly in 10 to 20 years, where now the Wi-Fi chipsets are very standardized and can be made to work with apps and Amazon Alexa very easily. Amazon Alexa and the platform was designed around usability, user interface, and being accessible. Amazon didn't come out with their first product and say, we're going to keep this at $500 and make it very complicated for people to use and very expensive for people to use. No, they came out with one product, then an entire product line with very economical options, where you can now get an Amazon Echo Dot. I think it was on Prime Day for less than $40. Typically, it's somewhere in the $50 range. But for voice control, you don't even have to have an Amazon Echo or Echo Dot anymore. You can actually just download the Amazon Alexa app, press the little voice button on the app, and control your lighting with voice if you don't want to get an Amazon Alexa. I wouldn't recommend that. I would recommend you get a physical Amazon Alexa device, put them in pretty much every room so that you're able to control your house wherever you want to with voice, and that's the way to go. With the Wi-Fi light switches, you also want to make sure that you have a strong Wi-Fi network. Most people already do because you like to have great streaming Wi-Fi wherever you are in your house. But if you don't, the Wi-Fi network and Wi-Fi router that I recommend is Eero. I personally use this in my home. It's very easy to set up. But the greatest thing is if you have a larger home, Eero makes it very easy to be able to add coverage. You just plug in what's called another Eero beacon, and then that Wi-Fi network is meshed throughout your house. So if you're having connectivity issues on a Wi-Fi network because you have a large house and you want to make sure that your light switches are connecting, just upgrade to an Eero Wi-Fi system. Now, that most likely won't be necessary for most of you, but if you were looking to make a Wi-Fi network upgrade, Eero is the way to go and the system that is going to give you the most satisfaction in terms of usability, ease of use, and troubleshooting if you have any issues. The other thing that you need to remember about Wi-Fi smart light switches is that they all connect on the 2.4 gigahertz spectrum for Wi-Fi routers. All Wi-Fi routers have 2.4 gigahertz, but sometimes people make the mistake of connecting to a 5 gigahertz network and then the Wi-Fi light switches won't work. So when you're going through the setup of a Wi-Fi light switch, make sure that you're using the 2.4 gigahertz spectrum, which is typically the default setting on your router. 2.4 gigahertz spectrum for Wi-Fi is actually more powerful within a home in terms of the signal will broadcast farther than 5 gigahertz. 5 gigahertz has more bandwidth, meaning more information can be transmitted, but not as far of distances or through walls. So you want to make sure that you connect to the 2.4 gigahertz spectrum for Wi-Fi light switches to make sure they work. That's really important. They won't work on 5 gigahertz. And that is all we have for today's show. But I want to make sure that you tune in next week because we have a very important guest, Joe Sellinger with LifeDoor. This guy is changing life safety and how we live in fire prevention, and is saving lives. So I want to make sure that you guys tune in next week because we have a great smart home guest, Joe Sellinger from LifeDoor. The next interview with Joe literally made me cry because the technology that he has the potential to save lives. So I want to make sure that you guys spread the good word about Joe and LifeDoor to get this life-saving technology out there, as well as please tune in next week to support him, to support me, and potentially help save lives by promoting the product that they are making. It is an incredible story. It's an incredible product. I worked in general contracting and commercial construction for years, and this already exists at the commercial level. But Joel is the first one to implement this at the residential level. It's been proven to save lives in the commercial space, and bringing this technology to the residential level with smart homes and what they're doing, I'm telling you, it is an amazing thing. Also, we have got the devices that we sell for smart home light switches and smart home plugs in the show notes. So if you want to get started automating your lights with voice, we're going to give you the product. You just listen to this simple tutorial on how to do it. Please pick them up. You can get them on our website or on Amazon.com. 1 Hour Smart Home, 1hoursmarthome.com. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Happy to bring you value every time you tune in, and we're looking forward to helping you in the future. If you've got questions you want us to cover on smart home automation, go ahead and email us at info@onehoursmarthome.com. We always look forward to hearing from our listeners and providing topics that you want to hear about. Now, if you could do me one more favor, go ahead and give us that 5-star rating in the App Store, or give us a thumbs up and like, and share the 1 Hour Smart Home podcast with your friends.
Thank you for listening to the 1 Hour Smart Home Podcast. We love our listeners and your feedback. Subscribe to our email list at onehoursmarthome.com, where we share with you the best smart home technology, the latest reviews, tips, and tricks to make your life better. And with that, we'll catch you in the future.
Before you leave, make sure that you go to onehoursmarthome.com and you enter the giveaway for a free 1 Hour Smart Home light switch. We're going to be giving one away to our listeners. You can enter either by going to the show notes, or there is a pop-up on the screen that will allow you to enter the giveaway. All you have to do is enter your email address. You get more entries if you like us on Twitter or follow us on one of the other social media channels. So thank you, and it's a great opportunity to get some free smart home swag. Now, we're only giving this device away for American listeners because it currently only works on the US-based power grid. So don't worry, in the future, those of you in other places, we are working with our manufacturing partners to get other device switches out there for other countries, other voltage levels. But for right now, all we've got is the US version.